I
face.
know. I'm so happy to see you too.
um, so I got some feedback from a friend because I've done a few of these so far, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I love these conversations, but do you mind introducing the person that
Yeah.
you're talking to? Because otherwise, I don't know who they are."
Yeah.
Um, and maybe this would be better done by yourself because I know you on a personal level, but
Yeah.
professionally, actually, we haven't had a
Yeah.
lot of conversation. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to hear it from your perspective.
Yeah, so my name's Erin Stafford, and I am a full-time speaker and author. I talk about burnout and peak performance. So it's really all about how do we create lives that not only look good, but feel good? How do we create lives where we are kicking ass and achieving at the highest levels, but we're doing it in a way where we're not ruining our health or our relationships and burning out at the same time? So my background is really varied. It's always been in advertising, marketing, media communications. I was worked for MTV for years as an advertising exec. I was a celebrity stylist in Hollywood. I was a jewelry designer. I was a fashion journalist. I was a reporter. I was the chief marketing officer of a big healthcare company. I mean, like I've done a million different things, but I've spent the last 4 years speaking full time about burnout and peak performance. And I had my own burnout story. I worked in healthcare through the pandemic, which was its own special kind of hell. Um, and yeah, it's been great. It's been fun. I love it.
Wow, I can only imagine the healthcare burnout in COVID. Um,
We grew 27x in 6 years. So it was just insanity. We went
wow,
from, and we were doing travel nurse staffing. So we had like, I don't know the exact numbers, but we started with probably like 3,500 nurses working for us. And by the end of the
okay.
pandemic, we had 50,000 nurses working for us. It
Wow.
was,
Far
it was
out
a lot. It
across,
was a lot
and this
across the
was like,
country.
this was across America. Okay,
Yeah,
across
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
USA.
Yeah,
Um, wow, that's
yeah.
insane.
And my team,
Uh,
I grew from like 4 people to 75 people. I mean, it was crazy. So, I mean, that's where a lot of my burnout stemmed from. But it also, like, when that happened, I had to dig a lot deeper and realize, like, where is this coming from? And I'm somebody that has achievement addiction, have had it my whole life. My entire persona, identity is tied up on like what I've done, what I've accomplished, and what I'm going to do next, you know? And so I think
yeah.
burning out and working with so many like healthcare professionals throughout the pandemic that were burning out, it really kind of
Mm.
forced me to reevaluate that and my relationship with work and my identity based on things outside of just like, what am I accomplishing next? And so that's kind of
Mm.
when I dig into my book, The Type A Trap. I dig into that there. And I also really talk about that from stage in my keynotes.
Do you find that when people ask you questions about your life, like on a day-to-day basis, your instinct is to go, "Oh, these are all the things that I did"?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I mean, like, I still struggle with this daily. My mom has cancer right now, and she
Mm.
is
I'm
retired and
sorry.
like doing really well. But like, still every day she's like, needs to accomplish something. She's like, well, I really want to clean out that closet. I'm like, why? Who cares? Nobody's coming over. Your closet's fine. Like, your job right now is to heal, is to rest, is to get better, you know? And so,
Yeah.
yes, it is deeply ingrained in me.
Do you think there's like a do you think there's a way that you can trick your brain into thinking that like healing, in your mum's case, is a really like is a goal accomplished? Are there certain things that make you feel like, oh, I did something when like right now I'm reading the Rick Rubin book, the A Creative Act or The Creative
Uh-huh.
Act.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have that. I haven't read it yet though. It's supposed to be amazing.
It's amazing, and just in the framing that it's like everything is worthwhile for
Mhm.
the fact that it is imperfect and it is its
Yeah.
own thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you how do you find this like when you're like what's achievement for you in a day? If you do nothing in a day, do you feel like I
It really depends, you know? I feel like the nature of my work is like sprints and stops. Just
Mm,
like as a speaker, we have busy seasons and we have slower seasons. So in general for speaking, spring and fall are like crazy busy times for speaking because that's when most people have their annual events. That's when people are like getting their teams together and associations are having their national conferences and things like that. So those times are really busy. And what's helpful for me is knowing that like those are going to be really busy months. I'm going to
Mm,
be tired. There's going to be a lot going on. I'm going to be
mm,
traveling a lot. It's going to feel like a bit of a slog sometimes through the airports and stuff. But then being able to counter that with like, okay, I know after these 3 weeks, I'm gonna have some time off, and being able to look forward to that and know that I just worked my ass off, and now I can spend this week just, like, checking my emails once a day and not stressing out, you know? I think I've gotten better at that. I've
yeah,
just been gone for the last 7 days. I was in Miami for work, and then I was in the Bahamas for a couple days of play, but even that was, like, just a lot of planes, trains, and automobiles and delays and problems and stuff, and so,
yeah,
you know, the next day when I came home, thankfully, I've gotten better about not booking stuff for that first morning, but also I just take the time to like I slept in and I hung out with my dog and I watched the replays of the Olympics and I
mm,
didn't do much that day. Like I may have had one call, but I just chilled and I'm okay with that now, you know? Now, if I did that
yeah.
every day, I don't think I would feel as good about myself, but knowing that I've worked hard and that now I can just counter that with some relaxation, I've gotten a lot better at that.
Interesting. It's like it seems like a personal thing, but also like you're wired to always want to do stuff, right?
I also
Um,
am just a high energy person. Like, listen to your voice
yeah.
and listen to mine. You're like Mr. Calm, relaxed. You've just did some breath work and you probably meditated this morning. And I'm like, you know, wired and ready to roll. Like, I mean, that's also just like who I am in my core.
Yeah,
In fact, one of my speaking coaches, when I first started speaking, he's like, Erin, you've got to bake in moments into your keynotes where you're just quiet and you take a pause because otherwise you are just going to be yelling at people for an hour and nobody that's exhausting to listen to, you know? I was like,
yeah,
you're right. You know, so I think it's just that it's the nature of who I am. It's also kind of my upbringing. My parents are very hard workers, high achievers, and they never put pressure on me, but I think I put the pressure on myself. And I'm
yeah.
competitive and I'm excited and I love what I do and I want to do more of it, you know? Like it feeds me. But yes, I struggle daily with achievement addiction. And why do you think I talk about it and study it? Because it truly affects me every
Mm,
day, you know? It's a conscious choice. It's like diet and exercise, you know? You've got to consciously choose to eat better and
mm,
exercise and drink more water and not put terrible things on or in your body. Like it's a choice you have to make all day, every day, if you
yeah,
want to be a healthy person. And that's also how I feel about like burnout and achievement addiction and stuff. Like I have to consciously choose not to go down that path daily.
yeah.
Otherwise, my natural state is like, let's go.
Can you upskill me for a second? Achievement addiction.
Yeah.
Like I have a vague idea of what it is, but I don't have a definition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there is one, but how I define it is
Yeah,
having your sense of self-worth and your
yeah,
identity very tied up in what you're accomplishing and what you're achieving. And so you don't feel good about yourself unless you've accomplished something. And when you accomplish that,
mm,
you don't celebrate it. You're on to the next thing immediately because you want to do it bigger, better, faster, cheaper the next time, you know? And
yeah,
so it's just constantly moving that goalpost, never ever feeling happy because you think once I achieve that thing, whether it's climbing Mount Everest or getting that job title or making X amount of money, selling your whatever, pick something. We think, oh, as
yeah.
soon as I do that, I'll be happy. But you're not. Then you're on to the next thing, you know? So it's just this feeling of like being addicted to constantly achieving things and also just feeling like your sense of identity and self worth is wrapped up only in what you've done and accomplished and achieved, not just who
Yeah.
you are as a person.
Yeah, they're very different things, huh? There's this there's this idea that I love and I think is of like a techno optimistic future. Like, what if we can get to a place where something, robots say, build all of the houses, make all of the food, transport us everywhere. There is an abundance of resources so that humans don't actually have to work to be able to survive. And you can see this in something like agriculture. It used to be like 50% of the world's
Hmm.
population was in agriculture. Now it's like 2% of the world's population is in growing food. So,
Yeah.
like, there is this potential path, but then the question is, like, what do humans do? Like, if you have this
Yeah.
tendency to, like, want to achieve things, if you can't, or if it looks different, like,
Yeah.
how does that work? You know?
Well, I've thought about that because I was like, what if I like won the lottery? Like if I just instantly came into tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, and I never had to work again, and my family was set up for generations, like what would I do? I don't think I would just sit around and like travel and go to yoga and, cook dinners. Like, I truly think I would like start a nonprofit or do something where I was giving back and helping people in some way because it feels good and it's fun. I also think I'm just like an entrepreneur at heart where I love this idea of creating something from nothing that
Yeah.
is fun for me. Like, I genuinely enjoy the business side of that. But yeah, I would see myself like creating some sort of nonprofit or some sort of organization that helps people in some way, depending on what that future version of the world looks like. I could
Yeah,
totally see
exactly.
myself doing that. But I probably wouldn't work near as much, and I'd probably take a lot more Pilates and play tennis a lot more and probably travel a bit more. Travel for fun, not for work.
Yeah, the ratios would change a little bit. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and I would help friends out. I would it'd be fun. Like, I look forward to that day. Bring it on.
yeah. Do you think it'll happen in our lifetimes?
Where we don't have to work and robots are running everything? I
Yeah.
not in my lifetime, I don't think. I think we are making massive progress right now, and I think things are changing quickly, but I'm 45. Like, if I was 20, maybe. But in my lifetime, I'm 45. I'm like, probably not going to get to the point where robots are running everything before I die.
Yeah. I have a cousin who's just graduated high school, and we had this conversation the other day because she really doesn't know what she wants to do with her life, with her
Who
work.
does? Yeah.
Yeah, like how do you even I mean, I have my own story for this, but how do you even like decide the types of things that you want to do, especially when most of the things that potentially we will do are going to completely change? Like, how did you get to be a speaker? Were you always trying to get in front of people?
No, but I mean, it's not that far of a stretch like, of my personality. Like, I grew up doing musical theater. So my mom's a theater person. I grew up on the stage doing musical theater. So, like, I love to sing and dance and be on stage and have fun and like all of that stuff. Hold if you can you hear my dog or no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi, dog.
sorry.
What's your dog's name?
Winston.
Hi,
The
Winston.
the dreaded Amazon guy is here. But sorry about that. But yeah, so I grew up doing musical theater and stuff. I always was very interested in like the creative field. So advertising,
Yeah.
marketing, media, communications, fashion, like that sort of world has always been what I've worked in. And while I've had quite a number of different careers and jobs, they've all roughly been in that field. It's not like I was an architect and then I was a musician and then I was like, a healthcare nurse or something. Like, those all seem very disparate, but like all the things I did were kind of in this same bubble. But, I've had a very nonlinear career and I love that about myself. And I think
Mm.
it's so fun. And I just can't even imagine having a career where like I'm in the same industry or the same job for like 30 years and that's it. I know people do it. It's just not me. I'm interested in too many different things. And thankfully, I've had parents that were always very keen on me just pursuing what interested me.
Mm.
Um, Not that they were like supporting me financially through all of this, but more so just like do what you want to do and the money will come. And I think I've always just thought of like what's my worst case scenario? Well, the worst case is like I'm not making any money and I can't afford to pay my rent and I need to move back in with my parents. Okay, well, if that's my worst case scenario, like that's not that bad. Like I could handle that. They would freaking love it. Now, given I wouldn't wanna live there forever, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've always just thought, "That's my worst case scenario. How lucky am I that I have parents that will always take me back in?" But because I've always thought that's my worst case scenario, listen, I'm not gonna be homeless. I can always go live there. It's given me a confidence to just be like, "F it." Like, I'll go try this thing and see what happens, you know? And it's been fun. Like, I knew I wanted to work in advertising for a while. I did that. It was fun. I was
Yeah.
always interested in fashion, but my parents were kind of like, get a real job, don't go into fashion. And so I went into advertising, which was like the next best thing to me because it was like fun and creative and interesting. And you work with cool brands and that was cool. I'd always wanted to I was always really good at, like, putting outfits together and seeing what worked on certain people, and so I
Yeah.
eventually got into, like, working as a stylist. That led me into working as, like, a fashion reporter. That moved me into working as, like, a local news reporter, which was something
Yeah.
that was definitely always on the list. I see people like I don't know if you know who Christiane Amanpour is. She's like a famous
No.
journalist. She worked for CNN forever. She's from London, I believe, but her background is Iranian.
Okay.
She's interesting. She was always like a war correspondent and interviewing interesting people, and it was always just something on my radar that I wanted to do. But
Mm.
I've just all of these things have just led me to the next one.
Was there
And
like was there like a person or a situation that pulled you from one to the other? Like getting into journalism? Was it a particular push?
yes and no. I mean, I had finished grad school. I went to Cambridge for graduate school in England, and I
Mm.
came back to the States and I wanted to work in journalism. And my cousin was a advertising salesperson at a local news station in Sacramento. And so she was able to introduce me to the people in the newsroom because it's very like church
Mm.
and state. Like the salespeople aren't part of the like broadcast, but she still knew those people.
Yeah.
So that was like a helpful kind of foot in the door to get in there. But, like, in terms of speaking, it was something I'd always thought I'd be good at and that I would enjoy and that I eventually wanted to do. And after I'd worked at this healthcare company, like I said, I was a head of marketing for this massive $11 billion huge healthcare company. I was kind of getting to the I'd been there for 6 years, and I was kinda getting to the point where I'm like, "I feel like I've done what I was gonna do here.
Hmm.
Could I stay? Absolutely. Was the money good? Yes. But I was kind of just getting to the point where I was like, I'm kind of ready to do something else.
Mm.
And I was able to get a payout from that company.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I've got to go for the speaking thing. Like, I'm never going to have this opportunity again to have like some money to live off of, to go try to pursue something. And I was
Yeah.
like, worst case scenario, I can go get another marketing job. Like I have a good resume. I've worked in marketing for years. I have this thing. I could just always go back and do marketing. Those jobs are always going to be there to some capacity.
Yeah.
And then thankfully the speaking thing took off and it's worked. And now I'm in year 4 full-time speaking. It's fun.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Um, what's been your favorite speaking gig? If we can put favorites on them.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's a thing.
they're all so different, some of them you have, like, an amazing venue or in a cool location, like, I spoke in Cabo in Mexico, which was fun.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I'm proud of is I got to speak for Tony Robbins for one of his events, and as a Kiwi, do you know who Tony Robbins is?
Yeah.
Okay, because like I don't mean that patronizingly. Like so many people outside of the States don't know who he is. And I'm like, he's like freaking Oprah Winfrey. He is like the
Yes.
guy. Like if you are like into the personal development, self-help, speaking, courses, excursions, like he is the guy. So I felt very fortunate. I got to speak for his Life Mastery event a couple years ago. They flew me out to his massive studio in West Palm Beach, Florida. And like, that was really cool. I was really proud of myself. I felt very fortunate to be able to speak for him and his organization. I got to speak for Jesse Itzler, who's another guy that I just think is amazing.
Cool.
He
Yeah.
lives his life very much in a way that's in alignment with me. That's like um pursuing things that make you happy, not at the expense of your life and your health. Like he's a very ambitious person. He has started and sold so many companies. He has made hundreds of millions of dollars, but like he's still very ambitious and driven and starting companies, but his life is so aligned to me,
Mm.
it seems like, and he's really focused on spending time with his family and his friends and being there for his kids and like living a life that fuels health and happiness and not just constantly chasing money. And
Yeah.
I feel like that is very aligned with where I am right now. Because I think so often people think like you either can make a lot of money or you can be happy. But like you truly can make a boatload of money and also be really healthy and happy and have nice balance in your life, etc. So those are a couple of the ones that I've been really excited about.
That's amazing. I mean, I love Tony Robbins. I think he's amazing. The like whole change your state to
Yeah.
change your mind is just, I mean, that's why I do breath work for clarity.
Yeah.
Um, but Jesse is also like an idol. There's a
He's
bunch
just
of things that,
funny and like totally himself. And I also love Sarah Blakely, his wife, the founder of Spanx. Like she's funny. They're just amazing. I love them.
yeah, that it's the kind of people that you look at and you go, ah, okay, this is what it looks like to play and also like to not feel bound by
Yeah.
things or to, yeah.
I mean, look, he's got a,
Um,
a whole business around a big ass calendar. Like, he just like creates things that he uses. And what a shocker. People also want to use them. Like, yeah, I love Jesse. So yeah,
yeah.
those are a couple of the ones that I'm really proud of that I've had fun at.
Cool, interesting. Yeah, it's these types of things that I'm super interested in is like how is it that we build our lives and they're constructed from all of these different parts and we put so much weight sometimes on things that we think should have a lot of importance, like say
Hmm.
choosing a career path. And actually a lot of the time it's a different kind of angle or a different perspective or something that's inspiring you that actually can breathe life into your career. That's why I'm asking these
Yeah.
questions about your career and specifically
Yeah.
like going
I think
into,
a lot of
you
it is
know,
like chasing curiosity.
mm,
I never felt the pressure. I also think that part of this is the American, like, liberal
mm,
arts educational system in college. I know in a lot of Europe, I'm not as familiar with elsewhere in the world, but like, and I know in a lot of Europe, in college, you have to pick what you're going to do. Like, you want to be an architect? Great. You pick it from day one, and that's what you're studying. And I think that's hard. I think that's hard on a 17-year-old, 18-year-old to know what the hell they want to do. Shit, I changed my major like 3 times in college. So I do think there are benefits to the American like liberal arts education where you are exposed to a lot of different things and you take a bunch of different classes. And I know there's the counter approach where some people are like, I shouldn't have to take classes on blah de blah if I'm studying this, but I personally think it's helpful. I also think it reduces the pressure that like you have to pick something and go with it.
mm,
Also, I'm not saying that college is the only way to go, but I think that's helpful. I think chasing your curiosity and exploring what interests you and what you're curious about is helpful. Um, things I find that like if you're envious of somebody, there's
mm,
usually a reason why. I kind of talk about this sometimes in my keynotes, like using envy as energy. So if I'm envious of somebody, like what is it? What is that telling me about myself? Do they have a lifestyle that I'm envious of? Are they meeting cool people and that's what sounds fun to me? Are they traveling a lot? Are they going to yoga at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday when I feel trapped at my corporate desk? Like, what am I envious of, you know? And so using that
Mm.
as a sort of meter of like, okay, well, there's something there. Why am I envious of them? What is it? Is it the lifestyle? Is it the topic? Is it the blah? That's a helpful thing. Also,
Mm.
just not being afraid of trying. Like, I think one thing that's really helped me is just being okay with trying stuff and seeing how it goes. You know, I have reinvented myself so many times, and all of my friends are like, I don't know how you do it. You just keep reinventing yourself. And I'm like, I don't know how you stay in the same job your whole life. Like, I did like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it would bore me to tears, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to just keep trying new stuff.
Do you have an answer for them when they're like, "How do you do it?" Like,
Yeah, I mean, so there's I've tried to like really think about what this looks like,
yeah,
and obviously, most people, myself included, don't have the luxury to just be like, I'm going to quit my really high paying job and go be a wildlife photographer. You know, like most people don't have that luxury. But a lot of people do have the ability to keep the current job that they're in and
mm,
start pursuing a side hustle or pursuing just moving a little bit in that direction. Like, just let's pick the life photographer thing. Like, do you have a
yeah,
camera? Can we start there? Can you get a used one for $200 off Craigslist or something like that? You know, is there somebody you know who's a good photographer, even if it's not wildlife? Like, the elements of photography are the same to learn
mm,
about the lighting and the angles and the setting up the composure of like or the structure of a photo. I'm clearly I'm not a photographer, but you know what I mean. Like who do you know that's good at that can start helping you or point you in another direction of somebody? Is there a local class at the junior college in your neighborhood that maybe costs you a couple $100, if that? We're not talking massive investment. Can you go? Start learning. Can
yeah,
you pick a few photos and buy a URL for 99 cents on GoDaddy and just start putting up your favorite photos? Can you start an Instagram? You know, like all of these things start moving you in the direction that you want to go. And it's truly a snowball effect of like, oh, now this person's known as she posts all these photos of like amazing animals or people like, you know, like it just snowballs from there and you can start getting introduced to people. That's
yeah.
what I've always done is like, who do I know that's doing this or doing something even remotely similar?
Mm. And how do you like? I think for a lot of people, it's like the fear of messing something up. Ugh, I've got a hair on my nose. Um, of like of looking dumb, of doing something that feels uncomfortable. Like, do you have ways that you move through this?
Everyone
Um,
feels that way, you know? Like
yeah.
everyone has imposter syndrome. Everyone feels dumb when they start new stuff, but the reality is, and you've probably heard this 1,000 times before, people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are.
Mm,
They are so worried about themselves and how they appear and what they're doing that they are truly not thinking about you as often as you think they are. Even if you're posting stuff on social media, most of your followers don't even see the crap that you're posting. So, like, post it anyway. I also try to tell myself, like, they're going to judge you either way. They're going to
mm,
judge you for what you're doing now. They're going to judge you for the new stuff. Like, they're going to judge you either way. And most people will judge very heavily at the beginning when you start doing something and it feels a little cringe. But like once you get going, then all of a sudden those exact same people are like, oh my God, I'm such a fan. It's amazing what you've created and what you've done. Like,
mm.
can you help me get into it? You know, so
It's injury.
you've got to just go for it. People are going to judge you either way, and they're truly not thinking about you or even seeing your posts or stuff as much as you think they are.
Yeah, we make this whole story in our heads, right? Um, I was thinking about this the other day and decided to try to do one cringy thing every day
Love it.
for like 30 days. And we started today. I like
So
put it
what'd
out
you
on my
do?
Instagram. I said, "Hey friends, like I've been thinking about doing this 30-day challenge. Let's do cringy things. Uh let's put together a list of things that we think are going to be really embarrassing and then
Yeah.
tick them off." So today my one was ask. Oh, and we've got two rules. The first one is that it can't be at anybody else's expense. It has to be like your own embarrassment.
Yeah, you can't screw someone else over.
Exactly. And the second rule is that you can't tell people that you're doing it for a challenge. So you can't like cop out of it by going, "Oh, I did this because da 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 da."
Yeah.
Um, so today I looked through the list, and the one that jumped out at me was take a selfie with a stranger. And I was standing on a beach, and I just saw this guy walking along, and I was like, "Excuse me, uh, could we take a selfie together?" And he looked at me, and then he went, "Yeah," and he went to take my phone, and I was like, "No, us together." And he went like,
Why? Yeah.
and then he was like, "Okay." So we took the selfie. I put it in our group chat.
I
And
love
now
that.
we've been brainstorming ways that, all right, if you're going to do these cringy things, if you're going to like do these, if you're going to feel that feeling, what do you do
Yeah.
before and afterwards so that you can feel like you're expanding, but that it's also safe, that it's also like,
Well, it
um,
does get easier as well. The more you put yourself out there, the easier it gets. But I also, back to like trying stuff and being embarrassed to people watching you try something new at the beginning. I will say, with the advent of social media and the access that people have to your life via social media, if you choose to put it out there,
yeah.
people love being a part of the journey. They love rooting for
Mm,
you. They love seeing you grow, seeing your opportunities grow, your stages get bigger. The people that you're on stage, like for me, like the stages I'm on are getting bigger. The other speakers that I'm speaking with are getting bigger. I just spoke at an event with like Trevor Noah and Adam Grant, who's a famous author, and like, some
I
other
love
cool people.
Adam
I
Grant.
spoke at an event
Yeah.
with Mel Robbins a couple years ago. Did I meet her? No, but like we were both speaking at the same event, so like people want to be a part and along for the journey. And I think so often we think, oh, I can only show the highlight reel. No, they want to see you packing up products in your living room floor. And then, fast forward 3 years later, you've got a big warehouse and they're like, oh my God, I remember when she was like selling this shit out of her garage or whatever it is. Like people like being a part of that journey.
Hmm.
But if you don't give them access and you don't show them, it's hard for them to cheer you on just when you're at the top.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really good point. I mean, I love seeing you post stuff that is in the background as well as winning. Um, but it's
Yeah,
funny because
people feel it makes you feel connected to them.
yeah, it really does. It's the human element, but it's hard to see it in yourself, I think, or maybe that's just a personal reflection. But you know,
No, I think
like,
lots of people struggle with that. I mean, I'm constantly posting stuff with like no makeup on, hair in a bun, unshowered, sitting on my couch, making out with my dog. Like part of the time I'm like, God, I look so gross right there. Like, why am I posting this stuff? But the other part of me is like, most people look like that from time to time. Like, not everybody is all like suited and booted and perfect hair
yeah,
and makeup and the perfect outfit. Like, no, we're all a bunch of sloths in our house. Like, and that's how you feel connected to people because you're like, oh, she's normal. Well, hopefully people feel that way about me, but I know I feel that way about other people that I follow and
yeah,
see what they're posting. I'm like, oh, good. She's wearing mismatched pajamas and she's eating directly out of the carton from her fridge. I don't feel like such a loser. Like
yeah.
we all do it.
Yeah, it's also what world do we want to make? Do we want to make a like perfectly polished world where everything has to be like optimized and all of the postman?
No, something, there was just like a huge loud bang. Sorry. I don't know what's going on. At first I was like, oh my God, is that an earthquake? Nobody's here. He's barking at some big bang that just happened. We'll carry on.
You're okay there?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the kind of stuff, right? It's like, all right, this is human stuff. There are interruptions, there are bangs, there are dogs, and the more I struggle with social media quite a lot because it's so curated and it shows you an echo chamber and it also shows you like a kind of perfect echo chamber. So unless you're actively looking for stuff that is
Mm-hmm.
real, which is less and less common, you're seeing this world that actually doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a different kind of dystopia than I think we often see. Like there are books like The Road, where it's post-apocalyptic somewhere, potentially the United States, and somebody's traveling through and there's like ash raining. But
Mm-hmm.
actually there's also an apocalypse where it's like everybody feels really disconnected and really like the world that they see and the world that they live in are two different places.
Well, and I
It's
feel
like,
like you can make that argument right now. We have more ways to connect than ever, but there are more people that feel alone and lonely and disconnected. I mean, I have friends that speak on this about, this
mm,
loneliness epidemic that we're dealing with and disconnection. And I'm just so grateful I grew up pre-social media. I didn't have a phone in high school. I didn't have social media. I didn't have social media till after college. So nobody sees all this stuff, and I feel like it did give me a greater sense of, like, confidence and self-worth and stuff because I wasn't forever comparing myself to all these other people and forever feeling behind because they're doing it and I'm not?
mm,
It's hard, it's very hard, but that's why I also think people appreciate authenticity if you are showing the dirty, the messy, the unfiltered, the behind the scenes, because 'cause they're like, "Oh, okay, everything isn't perfect."
mm. I
But it's
feel this
hard.
I feel this more and more with AI that there will be increasing value in just human things and
100%.
like genuinely. Um, how do you find this with burnout and the like tools that people are using and the ways that the ways that people's jobs are changing? Do you see this in your own work? Like
In terms of what? People burning out or using, like, AI and stuff to help them in their jobs?
the thought comes from that everything is changing so fast and what was expected of someone say a year ago is quite different to what's expected now, because technology is changing a lot. Or is that just a story that I'm making up and it's not actually what is happening in the
No,
workplace?
I think it's definitely happening in the workplace, but I don't think it's just AI, like, focused. I think there's a lot of reasons why people feel like they have to do more. I do think the
Mm,
pandemic genuinely changed things because so many people were working from home. The lines got really blurry between work and life. We really felt like we had to be on 24/7 because we were working from home. We also felt like for us motivated achiever people, we were like, "Oh, well, I don't want them to think that I'm slacking off just because 'cause I'm at home, so I gotta work even more?" And
mm,
yes, people have gone back into the office, but a lot of people haven't, and a lot of people
mm,
aren't willing to. And so, I do genuinely think that that was a major change, and I think 100 years from now, we're gonna be studying that and seeing like, "Wow, this was a real pivotal moment in the change in a work experience." Um, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways that things are changing. Obviously, AI is changing things. I think people have a genuine fear of it, but it's usually because of a lack of understanding. I think when you really
mm,
spend time with it, and listen, I don't claim to be any level of an AI expert. I just use the shit out of Chat GPT, but like I have not ventured into all the things. Um, but I think the more people understand it, the more they'll realize that it's actually gonna help them and not hinder them, and that it will
mm.
make you better at your job. I think ultimately, we're never gonna be able to replace the human mind and empathy and connection and love and all of those elements. We've all seen a business or a brand that feels void of connection and humanity and love, and, like, people don't wanna buy from that brand. It feels empty. And so,
Yeah,
yes, we can streamline how we post stuff. We can streamline how we create the product. We can streamline how we're running the back end of our businesses. We can use AI and robots and technology for all of these things, but we still need the soul and the human element and the humanity and the connection, whether you're running an accounting firm or you're building a surfboard company. I mean, like, whatever it is, people want to buy from something that they feel connected to. And I think that's hard to do when we've outsourced everything to robots and AI.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it speaks to your career, right? Somebody could buy all of your work and give it out to all of the employees at a place,
Yeah.
or they could get you to come in and gift it to everybody in the only way that you can.
Well, yeah. And what I found really interesting lately, so you met me right in the middle of probably the worst year of my entire life. I had just a slew of bad things happen in a very short period of time. And I was still speaking at that time, and I wasn't sharing any of that stuff on stage because I was still
Mm.
in the middle of it. And you really can't share a story when you're in the middle of it. You really have to wait until you're on the other side of a story and then you can share it on stage. But ever since I've started sharing the story of my really crappy year,
Mm.
my speaking business has exploded in the best possible way. People are craving that connection. They are
Mm.
responding so well knowing that I'm getting up there in front of thousands of people and talking about the crappiest year of my life and all of these horrific things that happened to me because they sit there and they're like, "Oh my God, it's not just me. My divorce or my death or my drug addiction or my this or my that. Like, I'm not alone. She's gone through it too. She's dealt with that." And if it's not the exact same thing, they still feel connected because they're like, "Oh my God, she had really a crappy year. My year's not that bad." Or even if it's not a comparison, it's just like, we're all going through stuff. And the more real and honest and human and transparent we can be, the more people feel connected to you.
Mm. Yeah. Um, is there anything that you've done that like helped you realize that or connect to that authenticity? Like if you were gonna gift a lesson.
I think the thing that you're scared to talk about is the thing that you usually should be talking about. And I think I was nervous to get on stage and talk about all of this crap that happened because there's part of me that's like, is that too self-serving? Are people going to think that I'm just get up there and I just want to talk about myself? And is she just telling us this to get sympathy? Is she just saying this because she wants attention? So I was really second guessing it.
Hmm.
But what I found is that in me speaking my truth and being honest about things that happened in my life, it gives people permission to be honest about the things that are happening in their lives. And they feel so much more connected to each other, to me, to their work. Um, but I do think that, like, when we can be open and vulnerable and honest about our lives, that's when we get a lot of the connection that we are so badly craving.
Hmm. Yeah. Ah, I miss you.
I miss you too. Have you seen any of the peeps from Hoffman?
The crew. I saw Tumpy in August in SF.
Oh,
And I
nice.
saw Kiki as well in SF. I was there just after
Love
Burning
it.
Man. Yeah, it was really nice to see
Awesome.
them. And I'm gonna be in LA
Love it.
actually
Tompi
for a
came to one of
day.
my events. She was at one of the Oops, you're
Sorry,
breaking
got a
up.
little bit of lag. Go ahead.
Yeah, say no, go for it. Say that again.
I was just saying I'm going to be in LA for a day, so hopefully I'll get to connect with a few more of the peeps. But it's been too long. Tumpy came to one of your
What
events.
day are you gonna be in LA?
Um,
When are
the
you gonna be in LA?
27th
Of?
of Feb in like 10 days.
Oh, damn
I
it.
think
I don't
my
wanna be
travel
there.
schedule might
Okay.
rival yours, and that is saying something because it seems like you're all over the show.
I am. I am. But yes, Tompi came to one of my events. She was her company had a booth at one of the events that I was speaking at, and she was able to escape from the exhibit hall for a bit and come watch me speak. Yes, I've seen her. I see Golden a fair amount because he lives here in San Diego, and I've seen Kiki and, um oh my god, why am I blanking?
Uh, I forget names all the time.
Oh my god, I'm totally blanking. Anyways, I've seen a couple in San Francisco and yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it was really something that changed my life. I
Tony,
think my
Tony,
life is
Tony, Tony.
ah, nice.
How could I forget Tony? Yeah,
um, yeah, just like not only the stage that I was at and the like healing work, but also all of the people that we got to connect with. Like the fact
yeah,
that you and I got to meet each other and exchange stories, and now be doing this in life with people who
yeah.
are wanting to like find themselves and really connect with who they are is unparalleled.
It truly was life-changing. I talk about it on stage, not all the time, but quite often. I have a whole section where I talk about gratitude, and I talk about, like, the Hoffman gratitude process of, like, 3 things you appreciate about yourself, 3 things you're grateful for, um, and
I've
I
completely forgotten this. Will you refresh me?
yeah, so one of the gratitude practices that they talk about is, like, every night, or every day, go through and think of 3 things that you appreciate yourself and 3 things you're grateful for. And you don't have to write it down, you don't have to say it out loud, you don't have to keep it in a journal. It's just to remind yourself, like, you are enough, you are loved, you are lovable, you are loving, like, and I remember when I was really in my depths of despair in my crappy year, I was like, "I'm grateful I have legs. I'm grateful
Yeah.
I have a bed to sleep in," like, I was really digging deep there, but it's true. I it's a lovely thing, and I learned so many beautiful tools, and I think being in an environment like that where you are just cracked open raw with a bunch of other strangers, like, it immediately bonds you, you know?
Yeah.
I got a lot out of it. I encourage
It,
everybody to do it.
I do too. I almost feel like I am such an evangelist of this that I like try not to push it on my friends. I'm like, this is so, oh my God. And I'm like, all right, but if you want to do it, you do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I know, I've
yeah.
definitely encouraged a lot of people to do it, and I try to tell them, like, yes, it's very much based on, like, your childhood, but, like, you don't have to have a messed up childhood to still get so much out of it. I feel like I had a
Yeah.
great childhood, but I still got so much out of it, and I feel like it also just has given me more tolerance and more perspective on other people and what they may be going through and the patterns that they've inherited from their upbringings. Like, I don't know, it was beautiful. I'm so grateful and so thankful I got to do it.
Yeah, me too. I'm sad that this is not like a curriculum that is taught somewhere like at college. Can you imagine if every single college student in the US went through Hoffman?
Yeah.
What a different country it would be. What a different world we would live in.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that need it. So, to say the
Yeah,
very
yeah. We
least.
just need to
Yes.
understand ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when you understand yourself, you understand each other better.
Hmm, hmm.
So,
And it all comes back to connection. It's can I connect with you? Can I trust you? Can I do things that are positive for me and for you? Um,
yeah, and do you feel connected to yourself? Are you living a lie? Are you projecting something that's not your truth, you know? How do you get back to that authentic person of just you?
mm,
I feel like Hoffman
mm.
really teaches you that, like, you are enough and you're good enough and you're exactly who you're supposed to be. and you don't have to
Mm.
try to pretend you were exactly where you were supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. You were who you're supposed to be. You don't have to pretend anything. And I think we forget that. We're all trying to constantly prove something to ourselves, to our parents, to our siblings, to the public. Like, it's just a good reminder.
Yeah. And we also often not aware of it, like most of us. I
Yeah.
mean, I think almost every human is incredibly intelligent
Yeah.
and good at deceiving ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm like, this this is a thing, but it's not. It's yeah, it's not a big deal, or it's pushed away or
Yeah.
something. Um, I'm feeling like this would be a really good point to wrap. I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm
Sounds good. You're hot?
I'm in I'm in Brazil, and where I'm living is not super far from a main road, so I've got the doors closed. And
You're sweating bullets in there.
I am sweating bullets over here.
I love it.
Um,
So are you just traveling around with the same group of people to all these random places?
no, I'm traveling just me.
Love it.
And I now have been traveling for long enough that I seem to know people in a lot of different places.
I
And
love
whenever
that.
I go to a place, I go, hey, does anybody have recommendations or people that I should meet? And
Yeah.
then just the like lovely, interconnected, weird community of friends that I've made seem to go
Love
like,
it.
oh, you should meet this person. You should meet this person. Yeah. Yeah. It's been really
Love
nice.
it. Oh, awesome.
Um,
I wish I was going to get to see you in LA. I'm not going to be up there. I'm going to be there the week before or the week
uh,
after I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in LA starting on March 2nd. So I'm just going to miss you.
okay. Hmm. There will be time. The world is small.
There will. We will rendezvous in some random city somewhere. I know.
We definitely will. Hey, I would like to start a trend here where you get to ask a question that I ask to the next guest. It can either be here, but I don't want to put you on the spot if
Yeah.
this is too much pressure, or I would love to get it from you afterwards.
I'm like, "Oh god, it's gotta be, like, deep and poignant and
It
good and, like, a
it doesn't at
fabulous
all.
question." Yeah.
It's got to be, it could be what's your favorite color? Literally any question. I think we fall into this fallacy of like
Yeah.
in these things that everything has to be deep. And I know I do, but
A question I do love to ask people, and I'll go with this with this one, is what are you most proud of? And that doesn't
ooh,
have to be, like, some personal accomplishment. It could be, I'm most proud of my relationship with my daughter or, that I was able to start a business when I came from nothing or like whatever. It could be
mm,
I'm most proud of like I've raised a human being and they're still alive. Like it could be
yeah,
anything, but I that's a question I ask people fairly often, so I'll go with that one. What are you most proud of? It doesn't have to be
I
a work
love
thing.
that question. Okay. Okay. And I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
What's a question that somebody has asked you that's, been, um, that's made you kind of go, wow, I wasn't expecting that, but it's hit.
Oh. Um I don't know. That's a good question. Now you're making me think.
Okay.
A question that someone's asked me that's sort of, like, taken me back or, like, made me realize that that was really hit. I I mean, I can think of some examples of random shit I've said with questions, but, I mean, God, I was actually just talking about this to somebody. Someone was asking well, it's a long story, never mind. I'll spare you that story, but, I don't know.
This is the stuff that I want.
I don't feel like I have one. I know, I'll tell you the story. One of my speaker friends is an Olympian. She's a para-Olympian, and
Yeah.
she's well known. She's won all these Olympic, Paralympic medals. She's sponsored by all these amazing brands, and she was on a podcast, and somebody asked her what her favorite sports movie was, and she said Seabiscuit, and she was like, why the hell did I say that? She was like, what was I thinking? But she just couldn't think of anything on the spot. And she's like, oh, well, I guess Seabiscuit. But I had something similar where somebody asked me like what my favorite book was. And I could not think of a book to save my life. And I read a lot. Okay. I read a lot of business stuff, personal development, novels, all this stuff. And I was like, I went brain dead and I was like, the Da Vinci Code. I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong. That's a great novel. If you haven't read the actual book, the movie's good, but like the novel, you cannot put it down. It's such a page turner, but like that is not what I would have said. I'm like, oh my God, why can't I think of any of the good books that I've read? And I read all the time. So yeah.
It's so
Sometimes when
funny.
you're put on the spot, you just garbage comes out of your mouth. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have a question that's really super stumbled me that I'm like, oh, that's a good one. We got to ask people that more often. I don't have a good answer for you
Okay.
on that one. If
When
I think
when
of
it
something, I'll
crosses
let you know. Yeah.
when it crosses your mind when you're walking your dog and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
that's it.
I'll
That's
ping
the
you.
interesting thing about like mediums that are about a medium like this, right? Is like we can have a discussion here and we can like come up with interesting questions and we can really dive into it. But then sometimes some of the like things that you really would like to say or like the 2 a.m. ideas or the shower
Mm-hmm.
thoughts just
Yeah.
are not accessible here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I
Yeah.
don't know yet how to flip that, or if there are people that like really do a good job of
I think that's
actually.
why a lot of people are going back to or going into like Substack and writing, like going back to like almost old school blogs. It's like the new blog, they're starting Substack stack things where I feel like they can write in greater detail about subjects that interest them, that they're passionate about, that people want to read about. Um, yeah, it's just interesting the evolution of all of these different mediums.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, my
To
friend.
be
Well, it's so
continued.
good to see your face. Let's do this again. If not for a podcast, just catch up. It's so wonderful to see your face. I miss
Yes,
you.
absolutely. I miss you too.
Keep doing what you're
Um,
doing.
there's a technical thing that we should discuss very quickly is after we hang up, it's gonna keep uploading, so just leave the browser
Yep,
window open.
will do.
Um, and yeah, I will talk to you soon.
Okay, love you, my friend. Thank you. So good to see you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.